Kind and efficient. Can't say I disapprove. Although, seeing as this woman isn't a member of our crew, it'd be nice if the price weren't quite so high.
I think you may have underestimated the size of Miss Doyle's debt. If you'll look over this itemized bill. I am extremely anguished, Captain. Please respect my feelings in this difficult time.
I doubt Mr. Bedford's ever felt real pain. We could introduce him to the sort of suffering that actually constitutes extreme anguish. For the good of his understanding, of course.
Be careful you don't irritate my guards, Vicar. You might not like their rather narrow understanding of what constitutes excessive force. I am extremely anguished, Captain. Please respect my feelings in this difficult time.
Nice one, Bedford. Everybody knows you were never engineered to have feelings.
Be careful you don't irritate my guards, Mr. Millstone. You might not like their rather narrow understanding of what constitutes excessive force.
I believe the captain is proposing an indenture contract.
That's not unreasonable.
I guess it's better than losing your organs, but I don't know, Captain. It just doesn't seem right.
Miss Doyle is deeply in debt, and the board has every right to do whatever they like to recoup that debt. What guarantee do I have that she'll agree to the terms you negotiate? You're proposing an indenture contract? That's not unreasonable.
Boss, you can't be serious. The board's got no right to just enslave another human being.
That's where you're wrong, young man. Miss Doyle is deeply in debt, and the board has every right to do whatever they like to recoup that debt. What guarantee do I have that she'll agree to the terms you negotiate?
You mean the lady who handles the chairman's business? Or the third most powerful person in the colony? Oh, right. They're the same person.
Yes, quite. Miss Akande is just the person to take someone with your particular talents and sterling character under her wing. She can fill you in on all of the board's operations in the colony, really put your talents to use.
Where you been living, Captain? Under a rock? Miss Sophia's got to be the second most important person in the entire colony.
Yes, quite.
This guy's acting like he's on a first-name basis with Sophia Akande. She's the chairman's right hand?
Yes, quite.
Captain, are you telling me you haven't heard of the adjutant to the chairman of the board? Ms. Akande may just be the most powerful woman in the colony.
Yes, quite. I might have pawned my official board seal to Gladys, the black market fancier on the Groundbreaker. I can't authorize the paperwork you'll need to turn Phineas in without it.
Stray too much from the, straight and narrow, and one may just find himself assigned pastoral duty in a maximum security penitentiary.
To give away something so important to you, there must have been some curious reasons.
I'll thank you not to question my motives, young miss. It was a mistake, and I'd like to put it behind me. It's only temporary, of course. I'd never leave something so important in the hands of someone of such a dubious moral character. I was going to buy it back once I raised the capital. So you'll need to get my seal back from her if you want to hand Phineas over to the board. Though it might surprise you.
Oh, gosh. That's quite a goof, sir. If you don't mind me saying.
I'm very well aware. Now, let's get back to business, hmm? Though it might surprise you.
Architect have mercy, you don't possess a lick of sense, do you?
You can't say anything worse to me than what I've already said to myself. Now, let's get back to business, hmm? Oh, you've noticed my friends. Wonderful. Aren't their guns very large? Tremendously impressive. They're here to keep the peace, of course.
Uh... I'll admit, you've caught me quite off guard. No, I'm afraid there isn't any pie to be had.
I don't reckon that's quite what Mr. Udam meant, Captain.
Anyway, Groundbreaker makes much ado about its independent status, and so resents any board presence, no matter how benign. Oh, you've noticed my friends. Wonderful. Aren't their guns very large? Tremendously impressive.
Guess that's the board's idea of compensation.
They're here to keep the peace, of course. I'll admit, you've caught me quite off guard. No, I'm afraid there isn't any pie to be had.
Yep, 'cause you already ate it all.
That's fine. I prefer cake.
Anyway, Groundbreaker makes much ado about its independent status, and so resents any board presence, no matter how benign.
Benign presence. More like the seeds of tyranny.
Ah, just the kind of scintillating political insight I'd expect from you, Mr. Millstone. I dare say I'm overwhelmed. Was there something else, or may I get back to my work? Indeed. What is the saying? The two most common elements in the universe are hydrogen and stupidity. Someone must stand for reason and order, and the board is best equipped to do so.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that. Only thing the board stands for is oppression.
Ah, just the kind of scintillating political insight I'd expect from you, Mr. Millstone. I dare say I'm overwhelmed. A luxury stateroom, reserved for Chairman Rockwell's use. Oh, good law, of course not. He'd never set foot on this decrepit junk pile.
Hey, some of us grew up on this decrepit junk pile.
Oh, you found yourself a pet local. Charming. As this office is the primary embassy for the board on Groundbreaker, corporate bylaws specifically state a room must be maintained for the chairman's exclusive use. I produce bootleg serials. I can't help myself. Jurisprudence After Hours, or All My Colonists, The New Immortals, romance, tragedy, debt collection. And they're all mine.
You risked your career for contraband writing? I'll admit, I find a touch of irony in that, considering my own circumstances.
You couldn't understand. The solace they bring to the people of this colony, the adoring messages they send me, it's worth every expenditure. The heart wants what it wants, as they say, and mine yearns for the adoration of the masses. Held at a comfortable distance, of course. I've been working on something on the side, all right? Something not entirely, on the level. It's a little silly, I'll admit. Silly and completely illegal. I'd be forced into early retirement if the board found out. I produce bootleg serials. I can't help myself. Jurisprudence After Hours, or All My Colonists, The New Immortals, romance, tragedy, debt collection. And they're all mine.
That was you? Oh my stars. All My Colonists is just... Well, it gave me a story hangover for days, Mr. Udam.
You're a fan? I've never met one in the flesh. I suddenly feel quite naked.
Oh, it's all right, Mr. Udam. I don't judge.
The heart wants what it wants, as they say, and mine yearns for the adoration of the masses. Held at a comfortable distance, of course. An eminently fair point, my friend. And with my seal returned, I can stamp all kinds of documents. Such as this debt relief order, which, if anyone asks, doesn't exist. The very concept is anathema. Here you are. See that Miss Doyle signs and returns this form to me. Let's never speak of this again.
So, Bedford ain't above getting his palms greased. Who knew?
I'm impressed, Mr. Bedford. Indeed, you harbor a benevolent heart. I'm sure Dr. Fenhill will be quite pleased to have Ms. Doyle's debt erased.
Would you please ask your compatriots to lower their voices? You are most welcome, my friend. Here you are. See that Miss Doyle signs and returns this form to me. Let's never speak of this again.
Nothing like bureaucracy to enable small men to wave pretend power around. At least something good came out of it this time.
Would you please ask your compatriots to lower their voices? That's the spirit. Here you are. See that Miss Doyle signs and returns this form to me. Let's never speak of this again.
I'm glad we could do right by that lady, Captain. Real glad.
Would you please ask your compatriot to lower their voice? But you... It's always like this with you tramp freighter captains.
Oh, Captain, be nice.
Captain, stop pulling the man's leg.
Yes, please do. I have a fragile constitution, I'll have you know, and this runaround is like to give me a cold.
On second thought, maybe you should be mean to him just the littlest bit.
I recant my earlier statement. Mr. Bedford deserves what he gets.
I've met circus sprats possessed of better manners. Well, once you've tired of your jokes, you know where to find me.